What? Oh, and then I'm going to have a new grandbaby in March. So that is super neat. Okay, so the third thing that I'm thankful for is that God has taken away my fear of death. And He just has. He has helped me think of the wonderful things that are going my way. And so I've kept a positive attitude. And they say that you're healthier and your body can heal better when you have a positive attitude. And so maybe that's why I'm living at least now a year past when most people have died before now, a year before I have. So I think about the positive parts of dying. And so it's easy for me to think about how fun it will be to see Jesus and to watch His eyes look at me. Like right now, it's just a spiritual thing, and He communicates with us. But can you imagine, like Doug is looking at me right now, Jesus looking at me, and the love that He will show me? I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm looking forward to seeing the loved ones that I have that have gone on. I lost a niece when Tyler was 7 years old. She was also 7 years old, and she died, and I'm just eager to see her. I'm eager to see Kerwin's mother, and she and I were just real close. And then I'm eager to see Kerwin's dad. I've never met him. I'm eager to meet him and see what he was like. He died when Kerwin was 2. And so there's just so many things that it's easy for me to be positive about, even if God chooses that I don't live very long. And then the last thing that I'm very, very thankful for, and that is that through this cancer, God has given me a ministry. And I have so many people that tell me that I have been an inspiration to them. And I love it that I can implant in your heart and your mind things that will help you have greater faith in this wonderful, wonderful God that we have been chosen to serve in His army. That brings me such joy. I am so thankful for that. It has been a wonderful thing for me. I'm gonna finish off by telling about one morning, April the 1st. My cancer came back real strong, so much so that I was on heavy pain medication, and we went into a doctor's appointment where he told us that I had maybe a couple weeks to a couple months left to live. That was April 1st. And so we went home, and Mitchell, my oldest son, brought his wife and his little daughter over to comfort us with this news. And so I woke up early, and I spent some time with God with this new information. And He impressed upon me that no, you were not going to die soon. You were going to have a ministry. And He impressed upon me through His Word. It was whatever He directed me to that morning. And I hated that I don't remember what the scriptures were, that I didn't revisit it enough to remember. But He did impress upon me that it wasn't necessarily going to happen that fast. And so I woke everybody up in the house, and I told them about it, and it was about 9 o'clock. It was kind of late to be woken up. And I asked Mitchell to fix me some breakfast, and I talked to Kerwin. I said, I really wish that we could get Jim to come over, and I could talk to him about this ministry that God has told me that I might be able to be a part of. And so we called Jim, and he was able to cancel some of his appointments for that morning and come on over. And then we got a hold of Dan, and Dan came over too. And so I shared with them, I was sharing with them my testimony that I hadn't shared all the details of about since I had gotten cancer. And Karen Mann came over and brought some flowers because she had heard the bad prognosis. And so she sat down at the table, and after we had visited, Jim said, well, you know, Vicki, I really want us to pray for you this morning. And I had already come to the elders first off, that very first weekend, and asked them to lay hands on me, like James 4 says, and pray for me. And then I had, we had even done that a second time. And so this was nice. I was glad that he wanted to do that. And I said, I got to thinking, I said, Jim, would it dishonor the Lord if we used oil this time? Because that's what it says in James 4. And he said, well, no, not at all. And I said, well, we won't use our olive, that expensive olive oil. We'll just get some old kind of oil that we got here. And Kerwin piped up and he says, we're gonna use the expensive olive oil. It's like $2, you know, for how much it would take. And so they put it in a little dish, and they pulled a chair out into the center of the room, of the dining room, and I sat down and took my wig off. And so I had my bald head, and I had Jim and Kerwin and Dan and our son Mitchell here kind of around me. And so they all dipped their hand in the oil, and they put it on my head, and they started praying, and Jim's prayer was exactly what I wanted prayed for me, and Kerwin was praying for me, my wonderful husband. And then Dan started. He said, Lord, this oil running down reminds me of that psalm that talks about the oil running down into Aaron's beard, and it was a picture of your Holy Spirit and the ministry that you were going to do in Aaron's life. And I spoke out there in their prayer, and I said, pour more oil, because in my heart I have such a burden for young women, young mothers, and I just have a burden, and I want to have a ministry with that. And so they did. They chuckled and cried at the same time, and they got more oil, and they just poured it on me, and they continued to pray. And then Mitchell prayed. The day before, the doctor had said her best days are behind her. And so Mitchell started praying, and he said, Lord, the doctor said her best days were behind her, but already we've had a glorious day today. It was one of the sweetest moments. We wept, and I just loved that moment. And that was all to tell you what a burden it is to me to have a ministry, and how it really feeds my soul when people are blessed by what's happened, what God is doing in my life. So thank you so much.